Hey guys, it's Alex, and today we're going to talk Boss 302 Mustang. A lot of you guys want me to talk about the Boss 302 Mustang, and I think it's a pretty good subject because it's one of those undercover cars that you really don't realize what's going on internally, and it's actually a real good bargain right now. If you do some digging and some searching, you're going to find the Boss 302 Mustang from 11 to 13. I'm not sure if they made them in 14. They might have, but don't quote me on that. You're going to find them for $30,000. And you're telling yourself, shit, $30,000, that's kind of expensive. Well, when you actually take a look at what's going on with the Boss 302, the 11 to 14 version, S197, it's a hidden gem. Real quick, you can get into a GT for about 19 to 20 right now, depending on mileage, 11 to 12. 13, 14, they're still hovering in the 20s, low 20s. I wouldn't pay a dime over $22,000 for an older GT since 15 to 17 Mustangs are being literally blown out of dealerships because of the upcoming 18 Mustang. So you'd be really silly to pay $20,000+ for an 11 to 14 when brand new 17 base models are being sold for $28,000. Trust me, look around, not in Iowa, not in Wyoming, look in Florida, Houston, Louisiana, the southern states where these cars are year-round. So, back on the Boss 302, so I don't get off kilter. The Boss 302 does not have a Coyote engine. The Boss 302 has a Roadrunner. What's the difference? Isn't it just an intake? No, it is not just an intake. It is rods, pistons, cams, valve springs, and the intake. The cold air is the same. So what's the difference, right? Okay, so people have said that the 15 and up Mustang pretty much has the Boss engine, and I think they're right. Because when you start to put boost to a Boss 302, it can take 800 rear wheel horsepower without even sneezing at it. Had a gentleman come over to Bowling Green on our mobile dyno, and he had a 15% lower, 69% upper, so I'm sorry, 69 millimeter upper, if I'm not mistaken, and on C16 fuel with a booster and 56 pound injector. And that son of a gun made over 800 rear wheel horsepower, and it did it without even sneezing at it. Now the Boss has better rods and pistons, so it'll take boost with no issue. I think if you get yourself into a Boss 302, you can boost it, have a good time. Now there are the purists out there that'll say some dumb shit like, but it's a turning car, and you don't need that much power in a turning car. Fuck you. You need all the power you can muster. It is up to you if you run out of talent or not. You can always turn it down or turn it up. But I always want a car with at least 600 rear wheel horsepower, whether it's meant to turn or not, whether it be a 350 or whatever. Now, dollar for dollar, the 15 GT will outhandle a Boss 302 bar none, simply based on the suspension. If you get yourself a performance package GT with the Brembo brakes and the IRS and all that stuff, it will fuck up a Boss 302 on the road course. But in a drag race, manual versus manual, boost versus boost, I got my money on the Boss 302 because of the solid rear axle. It just has the ability to launch a little better. If you go automatic, that just changes things. So back in 2011, 2012, when the Coyote first came out, people were shoving Boss 302 intakes in the Coyote, and they were making more horsepower on the dyno. Now you gotta understand, just because you have a peak number that's higher than the stock intake peak number, doesn't mean that intake is better suited for that engine. Why? Because the cams are different. The valve springs are different. The cam timing is different. So what happened? A lot of tuners out there were having issues with the Boss 302 intake being super lazy down low. Get into a Boss 302 and you're going to notice a couple of things. You can rev to 7,900, 7,700 RPM with no issue right out of the factory showroom floor. It's not as lazy down low as a GT is with a Boss intake. Now some tuners will say, well, I can combat that with cam timing. Bullshit. It's a mechanical advantage because of the cams. So don't let these guys fool you. You look, a Boss 302 is built for that intake due to the cams, heads, everything is a little different on that car, and it free flows and it revs way freer than a GT does. So a lot of tuners were throwing Boss 302 cam timing into GT, and it was making a peak number, but it was getting its ass walked everywhere else. So just because it peaks a good number doesn't necessarily make it a better mod. Average horsepower wins races. Peaky numbers impresses people at the car show. So the Boss 302 came up with a bunch of options. The Boss 302 had the ability to get the track key. So what does that mean? You can program the track key to free up a little bit more horsepower, and it's literally calibration. Think of the track key as a tuner. So when you plug in the regular key, drive around, you can chill, and then you can plug in the track key. You have the option of an idle lope. Yes, Ford invented the lopey idle. Okay, so you have the option of an emissions legal idle lope, believe it or not. And it freed up a little bit of horsepower and it had a little bit of different throttle mapping and everything. So that's a neat option. And HP Tuners has recently cracked it where you can tune a Boss 302 and the track key features. I haven't played with it. I'm not going to play with it because there's like 3 Boss 302 owners that give a shit about that. Most Boss 302 owners say, fuck it, I want the power now all the time. And they don't really switch back and forth. You know, they're men. They want to drag ass and they want to, you know, do good on the road course. They always drive with the track key. So I think it's kind of one of those moot points that's kind of, it came and went. So it really doesn't matter. Now, if you have the track key option for all Coyotes, 11 to 14, and you have that option baked in, now we're talking. Until then, I don't care. The Boss 302 also has adjustable suspension. It has adjustable front and rear dampening. It has a better suspension overall. Comes with wider wheels. I love the Laguna Seca version that has the side exhaust. I think Boss 302s also have the side exhaust option, which is just basically a baffle you take out and the thing just makes a whole bunch of noise. It doesn't sound that good, honestly. But a lot of people misunderstand what the Boss 302 is. It is not just a GT with badging and, you know, some noise and then cool wheels and a Boss intake. It is a completely different engine. It is a Roadrunner, not a Coyote. And if you can find yourself one for 28 to 30, that's a damn bargain, because 9 times out of 10, they're not beat up. They don't have that many miles. They're rare. They didn't make a lot of them. So if you guys care about resale value, AKA saving the pussy for the next guy, that's the car to get. If I can find myself a Boss 302 black with silver, like a 13 version, I'm all up in it. But until then, I'm just gonna hang with my GT. So just so you guys know, the Boss 302 has a better engine. It can take up to 800 rear wheel horsepower. If you're gonna boost the car, it retains its value better. It is not a Coyote, and it has a track key option, which is an added feature. So it's not a bad price, not a bad bargain out there for some of you guys that wanna learn about the car, can come across one and you're wondering if it's worth it or not. It's 100% worth it, and a way better vehicle than the Mustang GT. Thanks for watching, guys. Talk to you later.